Hi, everybody. Hi, Aaron.
Am I saying your name right, by the way?
Yes, my name is Becca.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
First of all, I want to thank you for everything. You just changed my life completely. So thank you for everything. And
Wonderful.
my question is, so I had the realization of illusion of the self, completely lifted burden off my chest. But as I observe my mind, I still act out in the same old patterns most of the time, but there's a gap between us. So the question is, like, is it normal to I guess it's gonna take some time, maybe like years, to finally recondition your mind to the point where you no longer get, when you basically, you no longer play social roles, let's say like this, or you're the same with an 8-year-old kid, or like whoever you talk to. Like pretty much like my social roles is my most concern right now, because my body and my mind is playing social roles in different situations. For example, when I'm home with my family members, I'm pretty comfortable, right? But when I go out and with strangers, like my just masculine shields comes on and tries to, like, stay like stoic and something like that. So I wonder, like, is this like realization will slowly recondition, or should I do any like deeper work?
Yeah, this was one for me that bothered me for a long time. This shape shifting that goes on with ego, that I seem to be a different person around different people, and that starts to bother you at a certain level of awareness, which is really good. It means you're starting to catch the ego's games that it plays socially, as you said. So what's to be looked at here is why would the ego change form? Why would it change costumes and personalities based on who it's around? What do you think?
So as I observe this phenomena, because I want something from them. See,
Bingo.
maybe approval, maybe validation, maybe to be like, I don't know, something, pretty much like I want something. But as soon as I start observing this underlying belief, slowly I'm losing interest, and I'm kind of like, I have like this inner conflict with myself, like, like, why would you do that? Like, that's not okay. Why would you like seek yourself? And this like inner conflict is happening, and I'm just keep observing. And that's why I was like, how long should I be doing that?
Mm-hmm. Well, so it takes no time to be aware, right? So while it may be true practically that the way it plays out is that, over the course of some years of really doing this practice, meditating on these truths, that this transformation seems to happen across time, but awareness exists outside of time. It's always available now to have a deeper insight into your true nature. And so don't even waste your time thinking about how long will it take until I'm over this period of my growth. Just focus on what is the problem that's occurring. And you said it is that my ego wants something from them, maybe approval. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So spot on. Now, next question. Why does it want approval?
So like underlying belief, I'm assuming is that wants to be important.
Why?
Because it believes that through others' admiration, it can gain sense of importance.
Yes. Now, I want you to really see this, because this is the opportunity. If you can see this, it'll click for you and you'll have that flash of insight. Who cares about being important? Why would one want to be important? What would have to be there first for that want to even be able to arise?
Well, I guess like coming from the lacking, right? It feels like lacking, and from this lacking, it has this desires coming out of this like lacking belief, I guess. But
Absolutely correct.
but I'm here just observing this phenomenon. I realized that I am already complete and whole. I cannot add anything to my present moment. It's already complete and whole, right? Like, I had this realization the moment I like had this when I bought this course, and when I paid amount for it, like money for it, like my ego was like triggered, because I grew up in like a poor family, so I had this like fear about money. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I bought this course, my ego was like triggered. Oh my God, like what did you do? Like you have to be saving. And then I realized what was actually taken away from me. Like nothing. It's just illusion, concept in my mind. And that was the moment when I was like, oh my God, like it's like the present moment is already complete and whole, right? And but see, at the one point I'm here like understanding everything, but the other point I'm like my ego is still like, come on, man, this can't be that easy. Like something is missing here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is fantastic, Becca. Let's look at what you just said again. So you said, as soon as I bought the course, it triggered my ego to say, oh, wow, now you're lacking even more.
Mm-hmm.
So remember what we just said with Suze, that ego looks for evidence to prove its belief.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it need evidence? Because it doesn't exist. There is no one who is lacking. It's just a belief in lack.
Just to believe.
Because it
Thank
has
you.
no substance in reality, it must continually create a sense of continuity, of
Mm-hmm.
evidence, right? This is why you lack. That's why you lack. There's some lack. There's some lack. So this is
True.
why self-inquiry is the ticket. Just keep asking who's lacking, who's the one who's lacking, because
Mm-hmm.
it's cause and effect, right? If you just look at what's lacking, that's the effect, right? Money is lacking or whatever, but
Yeah.
the cause is who is lacking, the subject. Is there really anyone who's lacking, or like you said,
It's
it's
just
just an idea in
happening.
the mind?
Yeah, it's just happening. Mm.
So we find a feeling, you said, of I want to be important because I feel like I'm lacking, but we know a feeling's not an entity. The mind is adding a narrative to that feeling. Typically, it's like the belief in lack is a sadness or a weariness, a loneliness, depression. It's that constricting emotion, right? So the mind, whenever that feeling arises, the mind puts a narrative on it and says, this feeling is evidence that I am lacking.
Mm.
So when we flip it around and understand how the emotional guidance system works, we have to bring to our awareness, no, it's the opposite. This feeling is the evidence that that it's not true, that I'm not lacking. The feeling is saying, wrong perception, turn around, go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So the tantric path, right, is where we get really intimate with our emotions and really move into them, lean into them, and ask them, what are you really telling me? Because I know what the mind says you're telling me, but I want to know what you have to say. And when we have that approach to our emotions, our internal guidance will tell us it feels bad because it's wrong, it's not true, it's incorrect. And when I feel expanded and happy and open and free, that's because it is true. It's a correct perception, right? So staying with the emotion, looking to where it points you, and then just continually sucking the life out of that belief by questioning it. Um,
Reprocessing, kind of. Yeah.
yeah, you will find every time you dive inwards, try to find the person who's lacking. Like, where are they? Can we present them in a court of law? Here I am. I'm the one who's lacking. We find we never discover a person who's lacking.
True. True. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's do this too, Becca. Let's imagine you have this thought: I need to be important. I need to be approved of. I need to be validated by others. Okay, those are just thoughts in the mind. Why don't I have those thoughts if they're true? If they're real, if reality says you must gain others' approval to be complete, why don't I have those thoughts?
No, it's based on my experiences. I think so. Like my ego, kind of the way I grew up, environment. Like my ego was like, okay, this is what we need to do to get something from them. So when I get them, then I can be feeling complete. But see, after I realized my illusion of the self, the one who talks, like there's nobody inside. It's just pretty much story, like nothing. And that was completely like turning point for me. Like, oh my God. And I'm using this as a tool right now to every time this happens to like recondition this pattern inside of me.
Mhm.
But it just bothers me. Like I'm so kind of like I think that's another ego like shape shifting to like pointing itself and like, hey, I don't like this behavior anymore because like how can I say that on me, right? So I think the same ego is shape shifting and pretending to be awareness, and telling, hey, I don't like this pattern anymore, so like how can I get rid of it? So I don't know, it's really interesting. It's really, like reality is insanely complex, and I'm amazed with that, like, and how we just take everything so granted, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I think like just observing is the key. I just stay with this feeling and watch burn itself out of the fuel, as you say.
Yeah. Yeah, you're really getting at it there when you describe how you're noticing the ego pointing itself out and accusing itself. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the ego is the one who says, I'm incomplete. Because I'm incomplete, I'm guilty. Shame on me for being incomplete. And I have to go get rid of this incompletion by gaining approval and all these things. So see how the ego plays judge, jury, executioner on itself?
Yep.
It's all just insanity. It's all just a feedback system. Ego is like trying to stand outside of itself and kick itself to get itself to walk. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm.
kick a donkey or something. Um, so the more you can recognize that, the voice of sanity in you will dawn and say, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of that," and less interest will be there to get involved with that mental noise. And that's
Mm.
all that personal doership really is. It's just involvement with the flow of life. As you've said, it's obviously in the mind already as a concept. It just needs to make its way down now to the heart to be that seed that gets planted, that you're just watching this person's conditioning get triggered, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the person does or says, however they react, like you have no say over your reactions. Certainly, if you did, you would only have positive reactions, right? You'd be the coolest guy in the room. Like everyone would love
True.
you and want to hang out with you. But for some reason, all the negative responses come up, and you see the shape shifting going on. So that's the key: is just be the witness and have this attitude of like, I have no idea how the person's going to behave in this situation. Let's find out. And it takes a little bit of time to get adjusted to what it's like to be the witness while you're engaged in some activity, a conversation with someone. But the more you just do it and you put yourself in that mode, it just becomes very natural and very effortless. And you're just watching the responses come out.
Mm.
And once you get into that place where you're truly just the observer, it's like having an air purifier in the room or something, where because there's just full awareness of like everything that's coming out of the mind just gets purified so quickly. And you have to let the responses come out, which is why guilt, as we talk about in module 2, is such a damper on growth, because you need to let these responses come out of the person, let them be seen and understood for what they are, forgiven and let go, for them to be healed and eliminated from the system. But when you say, oh man, why did I say that? That was so stupid. Now they think I'm not cool anymore. And that voice of guilt comes in, then you're identifying again and grabbing onto those reactions, claiming them. And so they stay in the system and get recycled.
Mm.
Does that
I
make sense?
see. Yeah, it does. So I'm assuming now that I think this always gonna happen inside of your head, but you're just strengthening your awareness so you don't get entangled in it anymore. You just like kind of block them every time they happen. I don't think like you can get to the point where there is no mental process anymore, right? I guess.
Yeah, all you can do is recognize or have the recognition in the moment that nobody is saying or doing this. It's just the automatic response of conditioning. The way, as you said, the person's been conditioned from all of its past. We talked about this with Sue's. It's just those memories responding to the stimulus of the moment, trying to live up to themselves, trying to get something. No one's doing it. It's all happening. So if you think you're the doer of the actions, you will be attached to their outcomes, right?
Mhm.
If you think you're the one who wants approval, then you'll feel like you need the approval and you'll chase it. All you
Mhm.
can do is recognize, oh, conditioning needs approval because it thinks it's incomplete. Just witness it all. And just the witnessing alone, like this is the amazing nature of your true being, is that just the witnessing alone is the purification.
Mhm.
The witnessing allows divine intelligence to begin sorting out truth from illusion and just saying, oh, that's not coming from reality. That one's not coming from reality. And you notice less and less interest is there for those
Yeah.
thoughts to arise. And you'll just find yourself like it happens sort of gradually for the most part. Sometimes it's, a one-shot kill.
Yeah.
But it'll happen to where you'll notice that you're in a social situation and you just don't care what anyone thinks about you. You're just being yourself, having a good time. And then the awareness might dawn of like, whoa, hey, when did this like, when did I stop caring about this person's approval? It sort of just disappears without a trace. Like when it truly is dissolved and healed, there's no crumbs, like there's no trace of it. So you don't even know it's gone. Like that's how free your true nature really is.
Amazing. That's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron.
So a lot to look forward to.
Yep.
Thank you, Becca. Appreciate it.